When I pushed the divorce agreement in front of her, Mary's eyes widened as if she had seen something unbelievable. You had it ready all along? Her voice was so soft it was almost inaudible. I loosened my tie, having not been home for a week, looking at the first luxury house we had worked hard to buy, which was also our marital home. At this moment, it felt like a strange hotel room. From the moment I found out you bought that $1 million watch for Mike. Mary's face instantly turned pale. That was last month's matter. She thought I didn't know. George is not what you think. She suddenly stood up, causing the vase on the coffee table to wobble. Mike, he just what? I interrupted her, my voice surprisingly calm. Just younger than your husband? More energetic than your husband? Or... I picked up my phone and pulled up that photo, just someone who can go with you to the music festival you've always wanted to attend, while I'm stuck working overtime at the company, drinking with clients forever. In the photo, Mary and Mike are at a music festival. She's wearing a cartoon headband and smiling like a college student. I saw it last week on social media. The photo was posted by her best friend, who probably forgot to block me. Mary's lips trembled, her carefully manicured nails digging deep into her palm. George, listen to me. Nothing happened between us. I laughed at her anger, scrolling through the photos of them together on my phone, then said calmly, you gave her $1 million watch and luxury car, took her out for birthday dinners, went to music festivals together. What else do you want? Do you want to kiss, or do you want to sleep together? Luckily, I found out early. If it had been later, I guess I would have been wearing the green hat, right? Hearing this, her face turned ashen, and she plopped down on the sofa. George, don't you think you're at fault in this matter too? What did you say? I couldn't believe my ears. Mary, who I saw as gentle, ladylike, and reasonable, was actually saying a classic line from a cheesy soap opera. I admit I've been a bit close to Mike recently, but why don't you think about your own reasons? You used to be like family, but you had talent. You were proud of your talent and unafraid of societal norms. It was this side of you that attracted me to confess my feelings. But what about now? You flatter people just for a business deal, neglect your health to the point of ending up in the hospital, and have no bottom line when it comes to business. You used to take care of me meticulously, always by my side. Now you come home at midnight every day, and I'm the one taking care of you when you're unconscious all night. And Mike, he's different from other men. Not only does he look like you, but his personality is exactly like the you from the past. 2. So you got close to him because he looks like me? I'm not fucking dead yet. I shouted loudly with red eyes. But you've already changed? You've lost your dignity and personality for money. Why have you become like this? She was even more emotional than me, shouting louder, as if she was the one who had been wronged. Those words felt like a knife stabbing into my heart. Yeah, why did I become like this? My memory flashed back to 7 years ago, when we were still college classmates. She was the daughter of the CEO of the listed company Anderson Group, and I came from an ordinary family, but was always top of the class in every subject. Proud of my talent and disdainful of others, I often harshly criticized anything I deemed unfair, and when treated unjustly, I would simply give up without caring who the other person was. Perhaps it was this wild and unrestrained personality that caught Mary's attention. After that, she started pursuing me. Since she was very beautiful and outstanding, I naturally wouldn't refuse. At the time, classmates said I was reaching too high, but I felt I was simply amazing and didn't feel like I was reaching at all. At that time, she really treated me well. Coming from an ordinary family, I never had to endure any hardship in my subsequent school life. The single guys in my dorm would say I always gave off the stench of being in love. With Mary's financial support, I no longer needed to do part-time jobs during holidays, so I had more time to do research with my mentor. By the time I graduated, I had already applied for many patents. Right after graduation, I received an offer from a top 50 global company. The Asia-Pacific president personally assured me with confidence, as long as I brought my patents over, his position would be mine in 5 years. I promised Mary that 5 years later I would proudly marry her, and she said nothing, just threw herself into my arms. That night, she became my woman. My future looked bright, but something unexpected happened. Mary's father failed in a new investment project, causing a break in the funding chain. In today's information society, any slightest news spreads everywhere, so all orders were halted and projects could not proceed normally. Her father couldn't bear the pressure and jumped off a building. When her mother found out, she lost consciousness and was hospitalized. After emergency treatment, she became paralyzed on one side. I still remember that rainy night. Mary was standing at the door of my rented apartment, soaking wet, holding her sister Lily, both of them freezing and trembling like two drenched chickens. My dad's company is going bankrupt. I've searched through all our relatives and friends, but they all avoid me. George, right now, only you can help me. Looking into Mary's tear-red eyes, I tore up the job offer from a Fortune 50 company. The next day, I joined her family business, Anderson Group, which was drowning in debt and couldn't pay its employees. To take all the responsibility upon myself, I had her transfer the legal ownership to me. From that day on, I worked during the day and stayed at the company at night to handle affairs. Because I saw the once carefree young lady who used to pay directly by transfer for whatever she wanted. Now, when she saw her favorite ice cream, she looked at it for a long time, took out her phone, hesitated for a while, then put it back in her bag, and smiled at me saying that her period was coming in a few days, so it was better not to eat anything cold. My heart felt like it was being pricked by countless needles, so painful. At that moment, I vowed that no matter what, I would do everything I could to bring her back to the life she once had. From that day on, it was like I became a different person. After being kicked out of another company while trying to get a small order, I found out his address and personally visited him with a gift. One day, I don't even know how many times I knocked on a client's door. This time, when the big brother saw it was me, he didn't impatiently scold me or act like I was a persistent ghost. Instead, he politely invited me inside. It turned out that his old man had suddenly fallen down the stairs. Without saying a word, I helped him get the old man into the car and took him to the hospital. His company was very busy and didn't arrive until the third day. I took care of the elderly at the hospital for 3 days, doing everything from feeding to cleaning. Seeing how sincere I was, the big brother didn't hesitate and immediately handed over a big order and promised that as long as we can keep up with the supply, they would only use our products in the future. With this order, the company could finally start operations, which also gave me confidence. So I went to visit other clients, and drinking to the point of alcohol poisoning became a regular occurrence. With my shameless persistence and relentless persuasion in running the business, the factory gradually started to come back to life. Those 2 years, Mary and I lived very hard lives. Not only did we have to handle the company's business, but we also had to take care of her mother in the hospital. Her younger sister Lily needed a lot of money to study abroad, and even if we saved money ourselves, we couldn't let her down. After all, a young girl living in a foreign country, unfamiliar with the environment, has it tough. But effort always pays off. 2 years later, I managed to pull the company back from the brink of bankruptcy. It was also that year that Mary and I entered the hall of marriage. Thinking about the many children we would have in the future, I felt the burden on my shoulders grow heavier, and I worked even harder. But now she despises me for sacrificing my dignity for money. Yes, she's living a good life again now. I'm no longer the one leading my sister on a cold, rainy night, crying downstairs and begging me. Nor do I remember how embarrassed I was when I couldn't bear to buy something I liked back then. This suddenly made me feel that my efforts over the past 5 years were really foolish. Why did I stoop so low to pull in orders everywhere, working from dawn till dusk? But none of that matters anymore. Since she has changed her heart, I definitely won't want her anymore. This marriage must end. Actually, ever since I left home a week ago, I've been considering divorce. During this past week, I've been miserable for 7 days, feeling like I've just come back from the gates of hell. But now I have moved on, and I've come to terms with everything. I calmly picked up the divorce agreement she had thrown on the ground and pushed it back in front of her. Take a look, and if there's no problem, just sign it. I have to end this marriage. Her eyes were red, and she looked at me helplessly as if I were being unreasonable. I won't sign. You just need to change this flaw in the future. I won't despise you. My feelings for Mike are just sympathy. The only one I love is you. I sneered and shook my head. Loving only me? She never saw any of my efforts. And that Mike just said a few nice words and gave a few handmade gifts, which completely moved this young lady. You don't want me to target him, do you? Besides, the things you gave him are our joint property. His father has been hospitalized with cancer for years, and you helped him pay off $1.5 million in high-interest loans. You've also been covering the medical expenses these past few months. If I were to pursue it, he would have to repay everything. After I finished speaking, she looked at me as if I were a stranger. George, how can you be so heartless? His family's already pitiful enough. Her younger sister is still in college, and her father is in the late stages of cancer. If the equipment is stopped, he will die. Can't you have some sympathy? Why should I sympathize with someone who seduced my wife? The people at the tumor hospital are all pitiful, so why do you only pity him? Anyway, I won't agree to a divorce. You're not thinking clearly today. Go take a shower first. I'll give you a massage to help you relax later. You've been away for so many days and didn't even come back to check on me. Faced with my questioning, she stammered and couldn't answer, so she could only change the subject. No need. I'm going back to the hotel to stay. After saying this, I ignored her calls and turned to leave. I never expected her to agree to sign today, but I have many ways to make her sign. In these past few years in the business world, I have not only become more tactful and accommodating, but my heart has also grown as hard as iron. There's an old saying, kindness should not command soldiers, and righteousness should not handle money. If you can't be ruthless, then the one who gets eliminated will be me. Since his father will die if the equipment is stopped, then I can only let him suffer and lose his father first. After returning to the hotel, I immediately froze all of Mary's cards and arranged for a lawyer to recover all the gifts and money given to Mike. Then I blocked Mary and gave myself a break to go on a 2-week trip. The private hospital's VIP ward won't let you stay even a day without money. If I come back in half a month, I should be able to make it in time for his father's 7th-day memorial. I was upset for a week before, but now I'll just treat it as a way to relax and chose a place I've wanted to visit for a long time, Gillen. This place, which I learned about in elementary school textbooks, Gillen's landscape is the best under heaven. Only after visiting did I realize that hearing about it is not as good as seeing it. Especially the unique local karst topography. It truly amazes people with nature's craftsmanship. And the crystal clear Lee River, the multi-ethnic folk culture. Before I knew it, half a month had passed. Maybe because I was having so much fun, I didn't think about Mary at all during this time. Back at the company, as soon as I opened the office door, I saw Mary sitting in my seat with a dark expression. Mike's father died. Are you satisfied now? The first thing I heard was a cold accusation. Is that so? That's unfortunate. My condolences. I sat down on the sofa, organizing the files the assistant had brought over, speaking words of comfort, but my tone was completely emotionless. George, how did you become like this? That was a human life. How could you? He should have died long ago. He lived a few months longer using my money. But no need to thank me. He has to pay back that money anyway. Mary's face flushed with anger, and the look she gave me was almost fiery. Fine. I know you just like money. I'll find a way to pay you back. Seeing that I said nothing, she softened her tone. As long as you don't target Mike anymore and change your flaws, we'll be like before. You can go home tonight. It seems she still thinks I'm just sulking. I've said it. I'm determined to get a divorce. You can refuse to sign. It's fine. I can wait. I believe one day you'll come to me willingly. She closed her eyes at my words, her chest rising and falling violently, breathing rapidly. I knew she was trying to steady her emotions. When she opened her eyes as a child, it seemed as if she had made up her mind. As long as you don't cause trouble for him in the future, I'll pretend nothing happened. You can go home today, and we'll be like before. Seeing that she could go to such lengths for Mike, my already calm heart still ached slightly. This was a woman I had liked for 7 years. I even risked my life for her, but her heart leaned toward someone else. I didn't let her continue speaking and drove her out of the company. Since you care so much about him, then it should be his sister's turn next. I had someone find out long ago that during this period, Mike's sister Sarah was living a very colorful life at school. Because Mary sent her a considerable amount of living expenses every month, not only did she live extravagantly herself, but she also found a handsome boyfriend and covered all his food, clothing, and housing. When I learned the truth, I laughed in anger. The money I worked so hard to earn was being leached off by their whole family. So I wanted to see if my blood was really that easy to suck. After Mary's allowance was cut off, it was no surprise that Sarah's living expenses were also stopped. But after months of spending money lavishly, especially with a clingy boyfriend to support, she had no choice but to find a way to make money. Coincidentally, just as she was dozing off, someone handed her a pillow. Guided by her close friends, she effortlessly found a job as a hostess at a nightclub. However, her boyfriend was also, coincidentally, developing a bigger appetite these days, and the money earned was never enough to cover their expenses. So, with a subtle hint from the boss, Sarah went into the business. She was indeed quite attractive, so business was especially good. But after a few days, photos and videos of her work spread online, and she was detained for a month and fined $5,000. After getting out, the school also expelled her, so she had no choice but to return to working at the nightclub. As I expected, a few days later Mary found me, and this time she went crazy, causing a scene in my office. Sarah was such a good student, and you ruined her like this. How'd I never realize you were so cruel before? In the messy office, Mary was extremely emotional. Now that you know, it's not too late. We can get a divorce today. Facing her frantic behavior, I sat in the chair, waiting for her to vent. George, you really want to divorce me just like that? I said, no divorce, don't even think about it. Then the next unlucky one will be Mike himself. There's no way around it. He only has 2 relatives, and I don't want to get to him so soon. I appeared calm on the surface, but my tone was chillingly cold. She knew I wasn't just talking. After much contemplation, she finally agreed to divorce me, like a deflated balloon. The day we got the divorce certificate, the sun was shining brightly. Mary was also dressed very beautifully, walking slowly behind me. I waited at the door for quite a while before she came over. When signing, she hesitated for a long time. Do we really have to get a divorce? Nothing really happened between us. But you've already changed your heart. Crossing that line was just a matter of time. She saw the resolute expression on my face, so she signed her name with tears in her eyes. After leaving the Civil Affairs Bureau, she asked me to go home and cook for her one more time to part on good terms. I didn't agree, but instead took her to the restaurant we often went to. When we were in college, she often brought me here for a big meal to satisfy my cravings. As a final gesture, I still intended to remind her of a couple of things. Just like before, I ordered a few of the small dishes we both liked. While waiting for the food, the atmosphere was very tense, and none of us spoke. Mike is not as simple as you think. I was the first to break the silence. Seeing me say Mike wasn't, a sudden glimmer of hope flashed in Mary's eyes. George, there's really nothing between him and me. I just momentarily took him for you. I raised my hand to interrupt her. I really didn't want to hear her explanation. Anyway, I didn't care anymore. What was the most expensive gift he gave you in these 3 months? Handmade cookies? Oddly shaped stones? Or small trinkets made from polished beer bottles? I changed the subject. Try telling him you left with nothing and see how he reacts. Mary's expression gradually shifted from confusion to disappointment. How did you know? Did you investigate us? But if you did, you know we really don't have much. I'm not investigating you. I just asked around a bit about him. He's not some innocent recent graduate. He was juggling several relationships at school. After a few years in college, he didn't spend a penny, but made quite a bit. His food, clothing, housing, and even all the dating expenses were paid by the girls, while the gifts he gave them were just some free handmade crafts. Looking at Mary's somewhat struggling expression, I knew that to make an adult believe me, I had to show something concrete. You like this? I whisper my thoughts in her ear. 1 week later, outside the most luxurious luxury goods mall in New York. Mike, dressed in ordinary sportswear, holding a bouquet of flowers, kept glancing at his watch and looking around as if waiting for someone. "How long have you been waiting here? What's the matter that you called me here this time?" Mary came out from behind Mike. Seeing it was Mary, Mike was clearly excited. Looking at the carefully dressed Mary, she was still stunningly beautiful. This was far better than those ordinary fans before. He secretly swallowed his saliva and handed the flowers in his hand to Mary. "For you, Mary. Do you like them?" Hearing him call her that, Mary was momentarily stunned. Mike had always addressed her this way before, and she used to find it very endearing, but now she felt somewhat awkward. "What kind of flower is this? I've never seen it in any flower shop." She took the bouquet, simply wrapped in colorful paper, with unknown small flowers, each branch uneven and irregular. "I came back from my hometown yesterday and saw these by the roadside. The flowers on the mountaintop were very beautiful. I made a great effort to climb up and pick them for you with my own hands." Mike looked at Mary with lustful eyes. This beautiful woman he had long coveted was rumored to be divorced. He had rushed back overnight from his hometown during his day off just to seize the opportunity and win over this beautiful and wealthy woman in front of him. Today, I asked her out specifically to confess, but maybe because he was so excited thinking that the good days were just around the corner, he didn't notice that Mary's expression wasn't very happy. "Well, you really put some thought into it." Looking at the few small white flowers wrapped in colorful paper on the branch in his hand, throwing them away would seem rude, but carrying them around while shopping was a bit embarrassing. There was no choice but to put them in the car first, then come back to shop with Mike. "Did you call me out today for something?" Hearing Mary ask this, Mike was momentarily stunned, as if he just realized she seemed a bit different today. In the past, I always asked her to come here to hang out, and she never asked for a reason. Moreover, when they were shopping and came across something he liked, Mary would buy it for him. It's nothing. I just haven't seen you for a few days and wanted to invite you out for some shopping." As they spoke, they walked into a luxury watch store. Mike naturally asked the clerk to take out an expensive watch and tried it on himself. "Mary, what do you think of this watch? I think it's great and suits me perfectly." Saying this, he stretched out his hand in front of Mary, his smile so bright, just like a child holding a beloved toy, asking his mother for it. To be honest, the watch Mike picked didn't really suit him. His wrist was very slender, but the watch was quite large and also very expensive. "Didn't I buy you one last time? You're just an intern doctor now. Your watch being better than the director's isn't right." Upon hearing this, Mike's smile froze on his face. This was the first time Mary had rejected him. In the past, whenever he clearly expressed his liking, Mary would buy it and give it to him. "And nothing. I was just trying it out," Mike said, putting away his smile, his expression tinged with reluctance and grievance. Whenever Mary saw a face that resembled George's, she would fulfill all his material demands. Just out of school and unable to handle interpersonal relationships, Mike made Mary feel as if he was George, while George seemed to become someone she hardly recognized. It wasn't until George told her about Mike's past that she realized she didn't really know Mike at all. Every time they met, she was the one who gave, while he only offered something free of charge, not even once buying her a milk tea. And she had divorced her husband to protect him. After a few days of reflection, Mary felt increasingly regretful. "Mike, you probably know about my divorce, but you might not know that I left with nothing. From now on, I might what? How can you be so stupid? How can you agree to something like this? The marital property should be split half and half after divorce. The company is your premarital property. You only need to give him some money. Clearly, he's living off your company, mooching off you. Giving him a little money is already generous." Mike became very angry upon hearing this. His usually harmless face twisted, and when he heard about leaving with nothing, he shouted to interrupt Mary before she could finish speaking. It felt as if George was taking money that belonged to him. Mary noticed his reaction. Similar situations had happened before, but she thought it was for her own good. Now, it was clear that wasn't the case. "This is between us. It seems to have nothing to do with you," Mary said coldly. "How can you think like that? That company originally belonged to your family, your money. After you gave it all to him, how are we supposed to live?" Mike accidentally spoke his mind. We? Live? What are you talking about? Mary frowned, looking at Mike with displeasure. Since it was already out in the open, Mike simply went ahead and confessed. Although Mary was now leaving empty-handed, she was undeniably stunningly beautiful. Even experiencing such a breathtaking beauty once was worth coming to this world for. Moreover, he had no intention of letting George off so easily. If they really got together, they would definitely go to the company to distribute flyers and cause a scene, then smear him online for living off a woman to get ahead, embezzling all his wife's assets before abandoning her. As long as they got half the property, it would last for generations. Mary, I hope that through the time we've spent together, you can see how I feel about you. That bastard George doesn't appreciate you. I will take good care of you. I asked you out today because I want to confess to you. Mary, I love you. Be my girlfriend. Mary was left completely confused by him and hadn't reacted yet, but the onlookers nearby were whispering quietly. This is the first time I've seen someone confess empty-handed. Who says otherwise? Confessing to such a beautiful woman. No other preparations would be one thing, but not even a ring, just standing there with your mouth open and insisting. There are luxury stores all around. You could still buy something on the spot. Only then did Mike realize and pulled Mary into the nearby shop. He didn't care about Mary's reaction and took the initiative to have the clerk bring out all the expensive items. Actually, he was just an ordinary person who didn't understand anything. But as the saying goes, a farmer's old man doesn't know quality and always picks the biggest to touch. His way of choosing things was the same. 1, pick the biggest, and 2, pick the most expensive. He glanced over the few rings the clerk had brought out and picked the most expensive one. Then he was about to get down on one knee to propose. Wait a moment, sir. If you're sure you want it, please settle the bill first, the sales clerk politely reminded Mike. As a business, they definitely wouldn't let you propose before paying. If the other person said no and you hadn't paid yet, wouldn't you just return the ring? Got it. We're regular customers here. It's not like we can't afford this. Mary, you pay her first. Mike's proposal was interrupted, and he was very annoyed, saying with a face full of impatience. This sentence not only made Mary feel incredulous, but even the onlookers nearby were quite surprised. Who lets the woman pay for the engagement ring? So the people around him all rolled their eyes at him. I already said I left with nothing. How could I have money to buy such an expensive ring? The money I've given you recently should be enough to buy it, right? Mary, who never intended to accept his confession, truly saw his true colors this time. He kept insisting that George was a kept man, but it seems he's the one who wants to be kept. So, those money have other uses? When we move in your mansion, I plan to redecorate it in a style I like. Actually, this diamond ring is just a capitalist scam to exploit people. When we get home, I'll craft you one that's truly one of a kind in the world. As he spoke, Mike threw the ring directly onto the counter. The clerk was quite startled and hurriedly picked it up to check if it was damaged. Seeing this, the clerk's expression eased a bit, but he still said grumpily, "Marriage is a lifelong matter. If you marry a stingy miser, life afterward will be tough." Mary, who had never been so embarrassed before, blushed and turned pale repeatedly. "Mike, I think you misunderstood. I've always seen you as a brother. From now on, don't come looking for me anymore." With that, she turned and left. Mike took out his anger on the clerk. At that moment, a man, was acting like a shrew, making a scene, shouting, and throwing tantrums in the store. From that day on, Mary seemed like a different person. She dressed up exquisitely every day and brought me meals she had made herself at the company. Then she stayed here, knowing my habits very well, and would bring me a cup of tea at just the right temperature whenever I was thirsty. Whenever I was tired and depressed, a small plate of my favorite snacks would appear in front of me. Because during our hardest times, I liked to eat something sweet to ease the pain, and it was then that she honed her cooking skills, making little snacks tailored to my taste. Seeing her like this, I tried to persuade her many times, but each time she just smiled and said, "This company is half mine too." After a few times, I stopped saying anything. As long as she didn't bother me, she could do whatever she wanted. Early this morning, she sent me a message. "Dear, I have something to do today, so I won't go to the office. Remember to eat on time. I wasn't curious about what she had to do at all. On the days she wasn't around, I actually felt more comfortable and at ease. Because she always liked to control me, telling me not to drink cold water or eat greasy food. In the evening at quitting time, she called me, "George." I twisted my ankle when I was going downstairs. "Can you come and take me to the hospital? I'm not a doctor." Just as I was about to hang up, I heard her crying through the phone. "Both of my feet are twisted. I can't walk even if I go to the hospital. Please just—" "All right, I'll be there right away." When I arrived at her house, I found that she was fine and was cooking in the kitchen. Seeing me arrive, she hurriedly grabbed a spatula and ran out of the kitchen. "Sit down for a bit. The food will be ready soon." "What's going on here? Didn't you say you twisted your ankle?" Sure enough, before long, the table was covered with a big spread of all my favorite dishes. Mary looked at me gently, and I vaguely saw the girl from before whose eyes were full of me. "George, do you know what day it is today?" As she spoke, she gave me a piece of braised pork rib. "I don't know. Didn't you just say—" "Would you have come if I hadn't said that?" "Today is the day I confess to you. So today, I confess to you again, hoping you can give me another chance." "Mary, there's no future for us. If you keep this up, we won't even be friends." After saying that, I stood up to leave. She hurriedly grabbed my hand, tears streaming down her face. "George, I know I was wrong, but nothing really happened between Mike and me. It's just that he looks so much like you, exactly like the proud, arrogant you from the past. That's why I—" "Just because he looks like the old me, you can treat him like that? Out of over 7 billion people in the world, there must be tens of millions who resemble me. So, after we get back together, I'll have to face so many challenges like this." "No, George." I raised my hand to interrupt her. "Listen to me first. You say I've changed, so I ask you, why did I change? You knew before I came to the company that I received a job offer from a big company with a bright future ahead. That night, the image of you and your sister caught in the rain deeply hurt me. From that day on, I vowed to protect you both well. I won't let you get caught in the rain again. You know what it's like for a proud person to humbly knock on someone else's door, get scolded badly, then knock again the next day, and be scolded even worse, repeating this dozens of times just to close a deal. Sometimes I even feel degraded. I don't dare to be sad in front of you because I'm afraid you'll be upset. So I find a place where no one is around, cry my heart out, and then go home. I have become the person I once looked down on the most. Do you know how heartbroken I am? But our days have slowly gotten better. Your sister studying abroad will be back soon, and you've become a wealthy wife. Whatever we want, we have. But what breaks me the most is that the person I love with all my heart, the one I would risk my life for, actually looks down on me. Mary, everyone in the world can look down on me, but you can't. Maybe I was too emotional. After shouting the last sentence, I flipped the table over, and the entire hall was in chaos in an instant. Then I walked out without looking back. Mary collapsed to the ground, her face expressionless, only tears continuously streaming down. From that day on, Mary stopped going to the company, and my life became completely irregular again. Every night, I was drinking with clients until late, until one day, after a drink, my stomach churned, and then everything went black. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself in the hospital. "Water, water." I instinctively called out, my mouth dry and parched, wanting to drink. "The water's here. The water's here." So yeah, I took the water and drank it all in one go. When I saw who handed it to me, the rest of the names got stuck in my throat. "Why is it you?" "Didn't we make things clear?" "Brother-in-law, it's me. I'm Lily." The woman opposite smiled brightly. "Lily, why are you back?" I looked her over carefully. She was indeed still a bit different from Mary. They looked so much alike, as if they were cast from the same mold. Lily appeared more lively, while Mary was more dignified and elegant. "I'll be back as soon as I graduate." "Oh, brother-in-law, I haven't found a job yet, so I'll start working at your company tomorrow." She arranged her own work plans, as if speaking to herself. "Lily, your sister and I are divorced now, so don't call me brother-in-law anymore. As for work, just report to the company tomorrow, and you can choose any position you want." Because from the very beginning, when I was dating her sister, I spoiled her a lot and tried to meet all her requests as much as possible. Okay, big brother, but I'll still take care of you here after you're discharged. Then we could go to the company together. Then she started chatting with me about her interesting experiences studying abroad. Over there, you have to do everything yourself. Hiring someone is too expensive, and as a girl, it's not safe to let strangers into the house. The public security abroad is really not very good. So, she was especially good at taking care of people. Talking with Lily felt really nice. She seemed to have endless things to say. 2 days later, I was discharged. On my first day back at work, Lily received a call from the police station saying her sister Mary was involved in a fatal accident. We hurried over to the detention center. Mary looked extremely shocked, and Lily quickly ran over to comfort her. I went to ask the police what was going on, and it turned out that Mike had been harassing Mary during this time. He had been quiet for a while because Mary gave him confidence, thinking that since she had nothing anyway, he could find another rich woman. But because he was so calculating, people naturally didn't have genuine feelings for him. He just looked decent on the surface and was always abandoned after being used. Of course, he didn't get a penny from them. In contrast, he began to miss Mary, so he blocked her door every day, confessing to her with wildflowers he picked himself. Mary couldn't stand the disturbance and asked the property management to drive him away multiple times, but later Mike just waited outside the community. Just now, Mike went to wait outside the community again, staring unblinkingly at the entrance, when a familiar red Ferrari drove out. He suddenly dashed over, and Mary didn't have time to react, directly knocking him down and running over him. A miserable scream of "ah" was heard. Mary was so scared she shivered, accidentally shifted into reverse, and ran over him again. Another scream of "ah" followed. Mary was startled again, and her hand trembled, so she shifted into drive and went over him once more. After repeating this more than 10 times, Mike finally stopped crying, and Mary came back to her senses. Later, after investigation, apart from the first time, which might have been accidental, it was hard to believe that the other dozen times were all accidents. In the end, the verdict was involuntary manslaughter, since the deceased was at fault initially, but the nature of the act was very serious. A 5-year prison sentence was handed down. For the first 3 years, I brought Lily to the prison every month to see her. She would tell Lily that men have a hard time struggling outside and asked her to take good care of me. In the 4th year, I came alone because Lily was pregnant. After I told Mary about this, her expression became very complicated, but in the end, she still gave us her blessings. A year later, Lily gave birth to twin boys, and it just so happened that Mary's release date arrived. On the day of the baby's full-month celebration, she lovingly picked up the 2 children and said, "From now on, Annie will take care of you both, okay?" Then she moved into the villa where we live to help take care of the children. She is very skilled at cooking and is also very good at taking care of people. With her looking after the children, Lily and I felt much more at ease, and we could focus on our careers.